Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind, head out to Chull or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions.
Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of Gaarawarr's Guide, the tutorial show. I'm Gaarawarr, if you didn't figure that out. Today it's Gaarawarr's Guide to Season 3, Ancients and Lawbringers. We're going to be talking about the champions that have been included in Season 3. We're also going to be talking about, just what's a season for the newer players that have joined us recently. And what can you expect out of that? All of those things are happening today. Joining me today is Gabe in the Mod Pod. Gabe's going to be grabbing questions and handling chat. They will take care of all of those fun things. Let me sure we got a code today. It'll get updated in the bot, but there we go. It's Ancients and Lawbringers, folks. Ancients and Lawbringers. You can see it down at the bottom of the screen as well. This is a tutorial show. This is a little different from my Friday afternoon shows. For the first hour-ish of this show, I'll just be talking on topic. So, kind of like a tutorial, right? For the second hour, I'll be doing a Q&A. Now, that doesn't mean you can't ask questions during the first hour. You totally can. Gabe's going to grab them, throw them into a little document we have over here, a little backstage document, so that I can get them in the second half. You can. I'm gonna talk about the stuff, like I'll answer the questions in the second half that are on our topic first. Then I'll go back and I'll grab all the others. So you can ask any kind of question today. Just know that we're going to hit up the on-topic stuff first. First in the second half. All right. So seasons, folks. There's a little icon over here. I'm not quite sure what it's supposed to be. It's so small. Next to the jukebox. This is our season 3, Ancients and Lawbringers. That's your season button. The season, as it says, starts in 4 days, 1 hour and 55 minutes from the moment I'm saying this. That means Wednesday at noon. Pacifically speaking. Wednesday at noon, pacifically speaking. Give or take. Because daylight savings is this weekend. Great. Great. That always throws everything off. But, roughly around then. So the 5 champions that were included in this season, Barrowin, Birdsong, Spurt, Turiel, and Hew Maan. We got a couple major reworks in Barrowin and Birdsong. We got a couple minor reworks in Spurt and Turiel, and then we just got like a little nudge with Hew Maan, because Hew Maan was in a pretty good place. Hew Maan was in a pretty good place. It's fine. Now we don't see. So we have the summary tab. They're just going to kind of tell you what's going up, what's coming soon. Yada, yada, yada. We don't have the quests yet. For those of you who have not been around for a season before, there's going to be 3 types of quests. There will be daily quests that refresh every day. You've got 24 hours to do them. You get 3 of those. And those are the ones you really want to nail. Those are the ones you really want to nail, because that's kind of where you get the most bang for your buck. Right, in terms of like the time spent working on something, for the rewards that you're going to get. Logging in daily, doing your daily quests, big deal, big deal. There are seasonal quests. Seasonal quests, we get 7 of them every week. So you're going to start off with 7, and then the next week 7 more will show up, and then the next week 7 more will show up. And they kind of go in a queue system, so you have until the end of the season to finish them. You don't have to worry about trying to finish them in a week. But there's only space for 10 in the list. So if you go to do the first 7 and it just takes you a while and you don't get them by the next week, 3 new ones will load in, and the other 4 from that next batch of 7 will be in a queue. And as you finish them, as you finish others, they will load in for you. So you never lose your seasonal quests. You have the entire season to do them. But they load in. You get a new set of 7 every week. And then finally we have milestone quests. And you get... Chat will remind me, I'm sure. I want to say it's 10 milestone quests. This is the problem of not having it up in front of me right now. I believe there's like 10 milestone quests, but the thing about milestone quests is they have tiers of work to them, and each milestone quest has 10 tiers. So you start off with some low numbers of things that you need to do, and as you complete that like tier 1 quest, you get a reward, and then it goes to tier 2, and then it's harder. Like then there's more. And by the time you get to tier 10, the numbers are pretty big. Pretty big. So you tend to fly through those early on in the season, and then the progress slows towards the end of the season until you finish them all. And some of those at times can require a little focused grinding. They have in the past, but as always, this is an iterative system. The devs are working on it every time they release a new version. So, you know, how grindy things has been getting better. You got to remember, this is season 3. This is literally going to be the 3rd time they've done this. So we're going to see a good amount of iteration here. But as we've been told before, season 4 is probably where we're going to see big iteration towards lots of feedback from before. So really looking forward to seeing what season 3 brings in terms of our quests. Yeah. I'm going to jump all the way to the buffs tab, because let's talk about buffs, baby. Every time you complete some of the quests, one of the rewards you get is experience. And you kind of level up in your season as you go along. So you start at level 1, and as you level up, you get buffs. These buffs will sit as a buff button up here, like this Dragon Rider Weekend. It will show up here. And these stick around the entire season. So as you level up, you're getting kind of this semi-permanent power for the season. Every damage all champions, increase gold find, increase health of champions, increase the effect of healing, increase all favor earned by resets. These are nice. These are real nice. This helps with your progress. As you level up, it helps with your progress in everything that you're doing. So lets you do like real solid deep pushes, lets you knock out variants that you haven't done before, etc., etc. So lots of really great, just straight up buffs. Yeah. And it goes all the way up to level 30. You can continue to level past 30 with experience that you're earning, but there aren't buffs, any buff rewards past 30. And then the big thing that Seasons, everybody loves with Seasons, are the rewards. There's a reward track. There's 11 tiers of rewards currently. The first 10 tiers are, one of the things you earn is currency as you're completing quests. The rewards you earn, you get to buy. You get to pick and choose some rewards. And you unlock the tiers as you level up. So reach level 4 to unlock tier 2, reach level 7 to unlock tier 3, right? So more rewards are available to you as you level up during the season. You will note that there is like these 4 are unlocked already. If I had currency, I could buy them. I don't have any currency. But you'll see there's a padlock. There's a purple padlock on these other rewards. The reason for this is the free-to-play path. These that are unlocked at Tier 1 and these red locks in Tier 2. The purple is the Season Pass path. So, obviously with Seasons, there's a Season Pass. Historically, it's been like $9.99. Pretty affordable. And what it does is it unlocks the ability for you to purchase all this other stuff with your currency. So you want permanent item levels for a champion? There you go. Right? There's we'll talk about all the different things. But so there's 2 paths. There's a free-to-play path. You can totally just do Seasons free-to-play and get rewards. There's permanent item levels here. There's just a bit more over here. All kinds of stuff. And then you get to Tier 11. So you reach level 31 to unlock. You get all the way down here to Tier 11. And what they give you here is a place to spend all your excess currency. These are all of these up here are one-time purchases. But when you get to Tier 11, you can buy these over and over and over again. That's what this little over and over symbol here means. Just over and over and over and over and over again. Now again, there are 3 options for free-to-play. And there are 3 more options if you get the Season Pass. Now remember, Season Pass gives you access to everything, but they tend to put the bigger rewards under the Season Pass kind of stuff, like that, like those. So let's talk about what kind of rewards you're going to see. We're just going to do this generally. You can find all of this stuff in here. We want to be able to get to all these cool champions because that's one of the big wins here. One of the coolest things, especially for brand new players, that they do is right away they're going to give you 6 time gate pieces. Now 6 time gate pieces is how many time gate pieces it takes to unlock a champion normally. One of the other cool benefits of Seasons is because they reworked some of the champions, they discount their costs. They discount their costs in time gate pieces. So all of the Ancient and Lawbringers champions are going to have discounted time gates for the entire season. Only 3 time gate pieces. Get your champions right now. So those 6 time gate pieces can get you 2 of these champions if you don't have them. 2. Look, there's the other one. See? So they do 6 time gate pieces in Tier 1 and Tier 2, which means that's going to cover 4 out of the 5 champions for you right away. Spoiler alert, they just gave away the first one, now the 5th one. They gave away Spurt. There's a code for Spurt, folks. If you haven't seen the code for Spurt, someone can post it in chat, please. Grab Spurt for free, and then if you don't have the other 4, guess what? Tier 1 and 2 of the season rewards are going to let you get the other 4 champions. So you can pick up all 5 champions. Basically, they're just throwing them at you. Here, take it. Even better, one of these is Turiel, and right now, for the Spring Gathering, if you unlock 4 of the 7 chests, of the 7 spring chests, you'll get Turiel for free with a skin. There's another free champion. They're throwing the champions at you, and they're throwing time gate pieces at you. Enjoy. Enjoy. It's really fantastic. Okay. Other rewards can be chests. Like, hey, they make a special chest, Ancient Lawbringers. They can also do specific chests for the champion, right? Sometimes they'll have potions. Permanent item levels. And this, when it says plus 25 or plus 50, it's for each item. And there's 6 items. So what you're actually getting here is 150 total item levels, but it's spread out amongst each of them. So all of those items are just going to go up 25 item levels. If you are a higher level player who has capped one of their items, like their ultimate cooldown, you'll get blacksmithing contracts as refunded. So super fun, super cool. These are my favorite. These just are. Give me permanent item levels. That's permanent power. They're also going to give you buffs. You can just purchase buffs. And again, these buffs will go in the little box we talked about before. They'll add to those bonuses that you earn from in the buffs tab. And you keep them the entire season. And they can, there's some general ones like this. But then there's very specific ones for these champions. And the specific ones are the big ones because they really want to encourage you to use these champions. So as you can see, here's buffs for like 1,000%, which is pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. You get these kinds of things. We can see most of this is coming through. Tier 3, we have something special this time. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's talk about this and we'll go back and we'll talk about the elephant in the room that I missed. Tier 3 is something special this time around. This doesn't happen with every season. They're giving you a Modron core. Now, if you're brand new, you might be like, a what? It's okay. You'll get there. There are these things called Modron cores that do 2 things for you. One, they give you lots of power. As you level them up, they unlock buffs. You play a little pipe game to build stuff. To build up buffs and build power. And they also help automate things. So they can reset your runs. They can load in a save formation. They can load in buffs, like potions. So they're giving us a core here. It's in the free-to-play pass. That's amazing. They did a core in Season 1. It was in the paid path. So, wow. Free-to-play Modron core. Fantastic. The thing that I totally skipped over, hey, look, you can also get feats for champions. I know, Birdsong already has 2 feet, but hey, these are feats, game feats. There are 2 feats per champion here, and they're distributed throughout this stuff. There's going to be a rare one and an epic. This is like Birdsong's epic. There's also skins for champions. Here's the Ancient Barrowin skin. So these are kind of the big deals. That's why they're in the far right in a big box. These are kind of the big bonuses. Oh god, this skin is so good. So you can get those. What else do we got? What else do we got in here that's worth talking about? All kinds of consumables. Potion of polish, folks. If you're new and you don't know what a potion of polish is, this makes any item of your choice on a champion shiny. Shiny items grant 50% more power to the item based off item levels. So, yeah, shinies are great, and this lets you put a shiny anywhere you want because otherwise shinies are usually random. They give week-long potions. These are the big boss potions. This one specifically is a favorite amongst the community. Potion of the Gem Hunter. It increases gem drops from bosses by 50%. So, of course, they had to throw that in there. Here's Modron chests, because we love the pipe game. You get your Modron pipes for piping your core out of Modron chests. It's the only place you get them. There's a familiar. Look at the little tail wag. Look at the little tail wag. The Valinar pup familiar. This is in the paid path. So paid familiar this time around. And then here's some scales of Tiamat for those people who are in the end game. Don't worry about this stuff. If you earn it and you're not there yet, it'll be there for you when you get there. So scales of Tiamat are what you use to create legendary items. They're doing something new this time. They're giving you experience for your Modron card because normally you have to level it up. You've got experience as a reward in Tier 10. It's also a repurchasable reward in Tier 11. That's an experiment. We'll see how it goes. You can also just get a legendary potion. This turns any item that isn't legendary, any epic item that isn't legendary, into a legendary item of level 3. Normally, legendary items start at level 1, and when you upgrade them to level 2, they double in power. So this will have doubled and then doubled again. So a really strong legendary item, just, hey, instantly, right away. And then we see repurchasables, Ancients and Lawbringers, contract packs. Generally speaking, for the free-to-play path, the contract pack is the best bang for your buck, because getting blacksmithing contracts is item levels for champions, and bounty contracts is tokens for events, which thus get you gear and item levels for champions. So this is the big bang for your buck. And generally speaking, Modron chests have been a favored choice in Tier 11. So, let's talk about champions. I do want to say I do see your questions coming in. Again, I will address questions in the second half of the show. Gabe has grabbed them. As long as you put, as it shows below, question : before your questions, then Gabe grabs them. That makes it easiest for them to see and know that you're asking me the question and not just somebody in chat. Let's talk about champions. Turiel, first up. I have Turiel in the front of the formation, and if you look here and it says support role, you're probably wondering, Gaarawarr, why? Turiel is what we kind of call an anti-tank or a nega-tank. Turiel likes to exist in the tank column, so that front column, but usually in a formation where there's more than one tank. Turiel basically makes the front tank line -1 tank. Because Turiel has an ability where when an enemy comes to attack them, they just kind of go, nope, and move them over to one of the other tanks. So if you don't have another tank, Turiel tries to go, nope, and the enemy goes, and then kills Turiel, because Turiel has no health. All right. So Turiel, Male Aasimar Cleric, lawful good support, Overwhelm 5, again, because despite the fact that they're a tank, technically, they go in the tank line. They're not supposed to get hit. Basic attack is a magical attack. We can tell that because of this little like a magic missile type looking thing here. That means magical attack. Sacred Flame. Turiel points at a random enemy and flame-like radiance strikes them from above. Right. First ability, Embodiment of the Law. So Turiel will increase the damage of all champions for each column they are behind him, stacking multiplicatively, which means Turiel wants to be as far forward as possible and wants their DPS to be as far in the back as possible. So if I put Birdsong up here and I go and I look for Turiel's Embodiment of the Law, we can see I only have one stack. I'm getting about an EO5 buff at the current point. But if I move Turiel back, or if I move Birdsong back where Turiel would prefer them, and we find that we can see now I've got an improved buff. Now the higher you level them up, the better this is going to get. But the idea is you want your DPS as far behind Turiel as possible. Orders demand. So when an enemy attempts to attack Turiel, they instead attack a different valid target if one is available. This is very much the I am not the tank you're looking for. When this occurs, Turiel increases the effect of Embodiment of the Law by 30% or by a percent, stacking multiplicatively. That's the good way. Up to 30 times and resetting stacks when changing areas. So this will move and shift enemies. And every time they shift an enemy, the buff goes up. So this is their version of their tanking buff. You get to multiplicatively stack up to 30 times. Amazing. So much better than additive, right? When you're talking about percentages. But then it does reset when you change areas. So it's very much about building your power on that area. But it does mean you can build power on an area and then move to a different one and thus build your bud, and move to a different one and use bud-based damage to clear off new enemies if you need to. So I do like this new form of building power, keeping it on a level, but then moving to the next one. Beacon of Light is the ultimate. Beacon of Light, Turiel pushes back enemies and slowly increases party damage for 30 seconds as long as no one in the party is attacked. This is great if you can move enemies back, like melee enemies. Doesn't work with ranged because they'll shoot you from a distance. But for melee enemies, and then keep them away from you somehow. Because the longer they stay away from you and don't attack you, the bigger the buff gets. This is very much of a get away from me thing. We float up in the air. Boom, that would have knocked everybody back. And then he just kind of sits and floats in it for a while. And as long as, but he only does the knockback at the beginning. Then everybody can move forward. So it's great if you combine it with slows. That would have turned off the buff. You got attacked there. It's great if you can combine it with slows or like Gromma's Wall, something that's going to stop people getting to you. Knockbacks, other knockbacks. Nice little chain effect, and you get a nice big buff. Unflinching Hatred. So Fiends are Turiel's favored foe. Favored foe is a more recent mechanic that was added to the game, where basically once someone in the formation says, this is my favored foe, there may be other people that you can add that do special things based off favored foes. So Fiends are being designated a favored foe here. After attacking a Fiend-type enemy, Embodiment of the Law is increased by 400%. When Order's Demand redirects the attack of a Fiend-type enemy, its effect is increased by 400% as well, and both effects last until you change areas. This is just an on or off. So if it's happened, great. If it hasn't happened, you don't get it. So you either get it or you don't. So obviously this is Turiel's great in areas where there are Fiends. If there aren't, he's still got your back, and we'll get to that in a bit. Lawful Mission. This increases the effective embodiment of the law by 200% for each lawful champion in the formation. So Turiel does want to be in a formation with other lawful champions. Doesn't mean that's all you have to have, but just know you're going to get rewarded for building out that specific type of scenario. Again, this is the Ancients and Lawbringers season, so it's all about like Lawbringers being these lawful champions and trying to use them in a group together. So you'll see a lot of the bonuses that we're talking about today have to do with that. Specialization choice, we either get Voice of Resilience or Voice of Authority. The nice thing about the change to Turiel's specialization choices is now it's literally the same thing, but what you're doing, like in terms of the buff, but you're looking to see what triggers it. Is it based off their con score or their charisma score? So all champions deal bonus damage based on the individual score, 400% per point above 10, stacking multiplicatively. That's the good way. So, I did redo my guides for all of these champions. You can check them out on the subreddit. I put a chart in for Turiel so you can see what that kind of boost looks like. Based off, you know, a kind of sum of the numbers above 10. What this means is you really want your primary DPS that you're pairing with Turiel to either have a high con score or a high charisma score. The higher the better because of the multiplicative stacking. So Turiel definitely favors specific types of champions. Lawful and either high con or high charisma. I'm going to go with charisma here. And I'm going to level up the champion all the way to the end, right? Can I get all the way to the end? Yes. Nice. All right. There we go. March of the Rakshasa. Rakshasa. You got to do the jazz hands with Rakshasa, folks. It's required. It's an internet rule. March of the Rakshasa is how Turiel has your back even when you're in an adventure that doesn't have fiends in it. Turiel has a keen eye for deception. 20% of non-boss enemies that spawn are actually duplicitous Rakshasa, fiend enemies who have shape-shifted into other forms. These enemies count as fiends in addition to their original enemy type for the purpose of favored foe mechanics and Turiel's unflinching hatred. So Turiel just sees through their disguise, marks them additionally as fiend, and you get the benefits of it. So Turiel effectively creates their own favored foes for you 20% of the time. So 1 in 5. It's great. Yes, please. Because before this, Turiel really was only good in adventures and variants that had fiends in them. Otherwise, he was losing so much of his buffs. So now he can create his own, and you can get good stuff. You can get good stuff still. It's great. All right, that's all of their basic stuff. Item-wise, we see a pair of Damage All Champions items because they are classified as a support. We see you can support Embodiment of the Law. That's great. This one's interesting. You can increase the effect of their specialization choices. So again, boosting all kinds of wild stuff there based off Con or Charisma. This is the effect of Beacon of Light. That's the... that's the ultimate. Okay, that's weird. Okay. Oh, that's right, because it ramps up the damage over time. So this is going to give you an even more powerful endpoint on your ultimate attack. That one threw me off for a second. And then this, of course, this reduces the cooldown on the ultimate. Feat-wise, they did see a bit of a feat rework, and boy, their feat list is long now. We have, you get your Damage All Champions items. There's a gold find item in here still, just because. We have Embodiment of the Law. You can buff specialization choices. You can buff Voice of Authority. You can buff March of Rakshasa. What it does here is it increases the effect. So there's a 10% and a 30%. Remember, it started at 20%. So you can make it go up. It's an additive increase. So you can get to 60% of the enemies that spawn come out as fiends if you want. Orders Demand, Unflinching Hatred. So they really gave you a wide variety of feat options and neat feat effects for Turiel. Next up, we're going to hit up Spurt. Fan favorite. The only champion that we have in the game that you could only find on Critical Role. Let's put it that way. Male Kobold Inventor, that's a fancy rogue. Lawful Evil, and Spurt is a support, of course. Spurt's ability, basic attack, is a ranged attack. We could tell that because this is an arrowhead. That's how they signify ranged attacks in this game. And it's Wasp Nest. So Spurt tosses a Wasp Nest at a random enemy dealing damage. Truly throws wasps at them. If they weren't dying instantly, I'd show you, like, there'll be wasps circling the enemy. It's fantastic. Everything about Spurt is fantastic. First ability, Heroic Sacrifice. This is Spurt's. This unlocks Spurt's ultimate attack. The ultimate attack is You Dead. Spurt tosses a wasp nest at a stalking giant that's off screen, and then is immediately killed by a giant hammer wielded by said giant because he's angry, which damages all enemies on the screen. Spurt then comes back as a spirit, increasing the effects of his abilities until he revives. Now, while Spurt is in... I'm going to do it here in a minute after we get off this boss level. While Spurt is in spirit form, they still exist in your formation and are doing things, but they count as if they were dead. This is a mechanic that has some synergy with Desmond, and there are also a couple other champions in the game that have the ability to count as dead. Okay, so it's not unique to Spurt, but here we go. You Dead. The stretchy part afterwards gets me every time. All right, Spurt is now a spirit, folks. Spurt is now a spirit. You can see him floating there, spirit form. Spurt is now buffing better than Spurt ever did while alive. Spurt exists, and their entire kit is built around them being dead. Like this. when Spurt uses ultimate, he becomes Spurt's spirit until his ultimate is 10 seconds from cooling down. While he's a spirit, he increases the party's damage and buffs in his other formation abilities in unique ways. We'll talk about those unique ways. But the idea here with Spurt is to keep Spurt dead as long as possible. And because of that, normally we talk about the items at the end, but we're going to talk about it right now. Because of that, instead of a slot 6 that reduces the cooldown time, we have a slot 6 on Spurt that increases their cooldown time and is uncapped. Currently, this is creating what we would call wild buffs with Spurt for people who have very high item levels. I don't know how long that's going to stick around. So, you know, just know that right now Spurt's pretty strong, but whenever things are really, really strong, you know, you might see the nerf back come along, right? So I think they tweaked that a little bit, maybe a little bit high. We'll see what happens. Enjoy it while it lasts, is what I'm saying. All right, abilities. Centipede Net. This is the base ability of Spurt, other than the spirit thing. Spurt increases the damage of adjacent champions. So this is their default form. They buff. You want to put them next to your primary DPS as a default. Now, when they're in spirit form, the effect is increased by 2% for each second of Spurt's maximum ultimate cooldown, stacking multiplicatively. This is why high item levels on slot 6 are kind of breaking Spurt, because multiplicatively is the good way. Yeah. Spurt's used to a big hammer hitting him, so don't worry. The nerf hammer is going to not hurt as bad as the giant hammer. Okay, Waspiration. Spurt gains a stack of Waspiration every time he attacks. Every 10 Waspiration stacks, Spurt invents a random effect. There's 3 different effects. We'll talk about them. Effects can stack up to 5 times each and persist until the area changes. Now, when Spurt goes into his spirit form, Waspiration stacks are gained when an adjacent champion attacks. So in this case, you want Spurt adjacent to lots of champions, so he can build Waspiration stacks. And the base multipliers of the invented effects are increased by 100%. So if we come over here, we can see into outgoing effects, formation buffs. We can see the Waspiration stacks. So one of them is Grubby. This reduces champions' base attack cooldowns, and it's all champions in the formation. So this is nice. The other one's Skunky. Enemies that approach the party take an extra 400% damage. Now, when they say approach the party, they don't mean, oh, they're on the screen. They mean they're like past this familiar line. They're in this region. That's approaching the party. They have to get close enough for the smell to work. This is an effect we see on Strix as well. And then Waspiration Stingy. Champions that attack with melee attacks deal 400% additional damage. And again, this stacks multiplicatively. So we can already see we're up to 2400% with 2 stacks. 5 stacks, solid buff. Okay. So 3 different Waspiration effects, and you find them under the Formation Buffs tab. Pack Tactics, otherwise known as Patactics. Increase the damage of all champions for every kobold in the formation, and that includes Spurt himself. In spirit form, the base multiplier is increased by 100%. So Spurt likes to be in in formations with other champions that are kobolds. But we can change some things here. So Kobold Family Specialization. This just straight up increases the effect of Pack Tactics by 400%. So if you already have a formation that has lots of kobolds in it, hey, great. 400% buffs, just straight up to that. Centipult gives you a little extra range on your buff. So Centipede Net instead affects champions who are 2 formation slots away from Spurt. And its effect is increased by 600%. So, if Spurt is the only kobold in your formation, and all your other champions have affiliations, you for the bigger buff comes from Centipult. It does mean you need to move Spurt 2 slots away from your DPS, though, because that's a big buff. All right, but then there's Adopted Family, so this changes things. Unaffiliated non-kobold champions count as kobolds for the purpose of pack tactics. They give you a nice little number here, too. So there's currently 3 unaffiliated non-kobold champions. This means they're going to count as kobolds, along with any kobolds you have. Right now, I have 2 kobolds, and then 3 more unaffiliated, which means I'm going to get a total of 5 per kobold family. Well, not for but for pack tactics. So in this situation, that number is going to be big. I would want to go with adopted family. Because I'm getting that 5x. Boom. You can see Spurt's got wasps flying around him. That's the waspration stacks. It's a nice little icon, a nice little notification over here that you've got waspration happening. All right. I want to say that's it. Yeah. Yep, that's it. Spurt's pretty straightforward. You just want Spurt dead all the time. So item-wise, damage all champions. You can buff Centipede Net, and you can buff Pack Tactics. Those are the things you like. You can buff the ultimate attack damage, and then again, you can increase the cooldown on Spurt's ultimate attack. That's exactly what you want to do. You want it longer. You want it longer. Feat-wise, Spurt got a lot of feats. We got damage of all champions. We got a bunch of Centipede Net. We got Pack Tactics. And then we have 2 stat feats. They're both for the same stat. I'm just going to tell you the durable one, But Tenacious, Constitution +2. This helps Spurt qualify for Vajra, Patron Vajra stuff. This one is maybe for a variant or somebody's ability. I don't know. There's a lot of champions in the game. But this is definitely Patron Vajra, getting to that 14 threshold. Remember, there are 2 feats coming for each of these champions. I should have talked about this with Turiel. Let's go do this real quick. Because Spurts are pretty good. Spurts are pretty good. If I remember correctly. Let's see. Yes. So you get a cooldown increasing feat. So let's just add some multiplicative stuff to right away with a feat. So this is extra wasps. So you increase by 30 seconds. And remember, it's 2% for every second stacking multiplicatively. So this is nice. And then Kobold Brethren is an 80% to Pack Tactics. Let's talk about Turiel's real quick because I totally forgot about Turiel's. Turiel gets a strength score +1 feat. This qualifies them for Zariel. Patron Zariel, if my recollection serves, it should. And then where's the other one? All the way down here. Shout Above the Den. This is specialization choices by 80%. So nice solid pushing feat. Nice solid pushing feat. All right, moving on to Hew Maan. Hew Maan's the other kobold. I mean, human. Hew Maan's totally a human. Definitely not 3 kobolds in a trench coat. Definitely not. Hew Maan, see the original champion. There's 2 males and 1 female in this trench coat. They count as both kobold and human. Now, they only count as 1 kobold. I want to be very clear. They only count as... The race for a champion is either a yes or a no. It's like, are they that race or not? So it's not how many are in a stack. I just want to be clear. So 1 kobold and 1 human. They're a rogue and a bard. They're lawful evil. They are support and speed. Hew Maan, one of the top 2 speed champions in the game. Enjoy. Get them and enjoy. They do take an investment in gear to really realize that speed, but believe me, it pays dividends. Okay. Base attack is ranged crossbow bolt. The middle kobold shoots a random enemy with a small crossbow. All right, let's talk about Hew Maan. Hew Maan's got complexity and depth for a stack of kobolds. Hew Maan does different things based off where they're placed in the formation, because where they're placed in the formation changes which kobold gets to be on top. So if I move Hew Maan up to one of the front columns, You get the purple cobalt on top. When they're in the middle, you get the red cobalt on top, and we're in the back couple columns, you get the yellow cobalt on top. And that changes their effects. Okay? So, teamwork. Zrang's the purple cobalt. Klebe is the red. You get colors are right here. The Klebe is the red, and the Yas is the yellow. So, when Zrang is on top, enemies have an extra chance to drop double quest items or count for double quest progress. This is the speed effect. It tells you how many columns it counts. So it's in a 5-column formation. It's the front 2 columns. There's a single middle column and there's 2 back columns. In a 4-column formation, there's a single front column. There's 2 middle columns and there's a single back column. In a 6-column formation, it's 2, 2, 2. And in a 7, I want to say it's 2, 3, 2, but man, I can't remember. It should be 2, 3, 2. But you can always come over here to the upgrades tab to see. It will tell you. It's really nice. It's one of the champions that really gives you good information here. If you put them in the middle, Klebe's on top, and that increases the damage of champions against boss enemies only by a large amount. And if the boss is hit-based or armored-based, that's that segmented health that you can see on the screen. Successful attacks destroy twice as many segments as they normally would. But again, that's only against bosses. Okay, so they help you chew through segmented health bosses. Now, if they're in the back, Yasa increases the damage of champions within 2 columns of Hew Maan. This is a nice change because it means when I'm here, I can buff behind me in the same column and up to 2 further columns. The older version only buffed in the columns in front. So this is a nice change. So I don't have to put Hew Maan all the way in the back. Hew Maan can also be right in here in this area too. So that's teamwork. That's a specifically based on active buffs based off where they're placed in the formation. Okay. Hello, fellow humans. They just memed right in here. Increase the effect of Klebe and Yasa's teamwork abilities. So those are the red and the yellow. Based on the number of other human champions in the formation. And you can see they give you the scale. So it's best if there's a lot. It's best if there's a lot. Because they like blending in with humans, right? Carefully balanced. So this increases the effect of Zrang's teamwork ability. Now, Zrang's teamwork ability is the speed effect. So carefully balanced is your speed boost ability, which makes their slot 4 rainbow eggs that buffs carefully balanced the speed item. This is the must-have epic, preferably golden if you can get it, but shiny otherwise, item for Hew Maan. This is the one that you ramp up and want lots of item levels on to go real fast. Okay, and then impressive coat work. This used to be a specialization. They just moved it in as an ability. It doubles all teamwork abilities. This helps carefully balanced go zoom zoom, but and it gives a nice little boost to the damage stuff that's going on with the others. All right, special adjacent choices will give us a couple different things here. It's all about changing how Hello Fellow Humans works. I want to be very clear because when Hew Maan first came out, people were confused and thought that this changed what Hew Maan counted as. It does not. Hew Maan is always a kobold and a human. Always. What this does is it changes Hello Fellow Humans to be something else. So, did we say humans? We meant... This changes it to now use the most populous race in your formation instead of humans. Right now, they've just decided that's Aasimar with 1. I'm guessing it's alphabetical because there's 1 Tabaxi and 1 dwarf. So you're choosing the higher number here, but this basically means hello, fellow Aasimar. But it doesn't change what Hew Maan is because... It's always hello fellow humans counts the other of the things in the formation. So you're not losing anything. Lawman changes it to lawful champions for hello fellow humans. And then Hello Fellow Mercenaries changes it to unaffiliated champions. Now, because this is the Ancients and Lawbringers season, my formation is stacked with these. But ultimately what you're going to do is you're going to look down here and you're going to pick the one with the... You're going to build out your formation the way you want it. And then you're going to pick the one with the largest number. Pretty straightforward. They make it nice. They make it nice that way. All right. Please stand by. So this is kind of the opposite of teamwork. It's still about the Cobalt stack and your placement in the formation, but the abilities are active based off who's not on top. So Zrang, boss enemies move 25% slower, so this slows them down when Zrang is not on top. Cleave, hit-based enemies have a 50% chance of spawning with 25% of their hits already gone. So if you're doing speed formation, or if you're doing so you've got Hew Maan in the front or you've got Hew Maan in the back, Cleave could be active in reducing the amount of hit-based things there are. Fun note. You can change to the boss area with Cleave, with Hew Maan in the front or the back. The boss will load in with the 25% missing. Then you can move Hew Maan to the middle and get double credit for everything you remove. You can game it a little bit. And then Yasa reduces the base attack cooldown of champions adjacent to the Cobalt by half a second. So there is a speed effect here, or an attack speed effect. If Yasa is not on top. Okay. And then the ultimate, so just like Hew Maan, the ultimate changes based off where you put Hew Maan. So in the front, roll out. The Kobolds pepper a random enemy with bolts, and Zrang's teamwork is doubled for 30 seconds. So you, again, doubles the speed effect if they're in the speed position. Stop. So if they're in the middle, the Kobolds pepper a random enemy with bolts. Non-boss enemies are stunned. So this is for use, to just kind of stop everyone. And no additional enemies spawn for 15 seconds. Good on a boss level, honestly. This is great on a boss level with a boss that spawns infinite enemies, so that you can kill them off, stop them from spawning, and then attack the boss itself. Good strategy. And then faster, the Kobolds pepper random enemy with bolts reduces any active ultimate cooldowns of all champions in the formation by 25%. So you'd pop all of your ultimates except this one, then you'd hit this one, and they'd all come back. The others would come back faster. Okay. So here's what it looks like when we hit stop. That's the one you're going to be able to see the effect on. Boom. We got no enemies. We got no enemies for 15 seconds. So real straightforward on how that works, right? All right. Moving forward, damage all champions items. We've got a Hello Fellow Humans item, and then again the speed item and carefully balanced. Ultimate attack damage and ultimate attack cooldown. Feat-wise, again, lots of feats. Damage all champions, Hello Fellow Humans, carefully balanced feats. So these are the speed feats. And then there's an intelligence feat. This qualifies Hew Maan for Patron Strahd. Patron Strahd. Now, their season feats are fire. Literally. Immolation, the epic. Hew Maan's attacks deal an additional 1 second of bud damage for every second for 5 seconds. So as long as you've built up solid bud, this is going to tick damage every second. This is great, again, for hit-based and armored enemies. As long as your bud's high enough to reduce an armor segment, every second it'll tick one off. And if you've got Hew Maan in the middle, it should tick 2 off. So Hew Maan was already good against segmented health bosses, but now Hew Maan becomes even better against those and can kill off segmented health anything now with basic attacks if you slot this feat. The other one, where is it? There it is. Increases the game speed, your overall game speed, like a speed potion, by 10%, but only when the formation is not under attack. This is like Shandy Light. Shandy has an ability that does this. This is a small version of this. So Hew Maan's just making your game even faster with these new feats coming in. All right, Birdsong. Let's talk about Birdsong. Birdsong, one of our oldest champions in the game, not age-wise, but they are a year one champion, so they've been around a while. They've seen a couple reworks. This one's got them. This one's got people calling her Bird Strong. We'll see how long that lasts. Again, it might be a little overtuned, but enjoy it. Female Tabaxi Bard, lawful neutral, DPS and support. Flashing Blades is the base attack, and this sword icon lets us know this is a melee attack. Birdsong leaps out with a cat's grace and attacks the nearest enemy with her sword. Song of Battle is the core of Birdsong's kit. So this increases the damage of champions within 2 slots of Birdsong by a large amount. This does include Birdsong herself. So if you're using her as support, you want to be within 2 slots of your primary DPS. Okay, we go straight into deciding specializations. This is solely based off the alignment, the good, neutral, evil alignment of your DPS. You're either doing good, you're doing neutral, or you're doing evil. And I want to be very clear here. If you see good or evil here, then that's not the neutral that it's talking about. Okay, she is lawful neutral, so that means she would be neutral on the good evil axis. Whereas if you see good, that's not the neutral, right? You can have a neutral in the front term, which none of these are. Like neutral, or it could say neutral good. You have to just understand there's 2 different axes. There's a lawful chaotic axis and a good evil axis. You could be neutral in both or either. But this neutral for theme of consideration means if you see good or evil there, it's not this. But if you don't see good or evil, you just see neutral, then it's this. So hopefully that's a little helpful. So she is lawful neutral. We're going to throw that down. You just choose it based off who your DPS is entirely. And it's kind of a similar thing with the second specialization set, Unison, Soprano, Concertino. This is about crescendo stacks, which we're going to talk about in a moment. You're going to build your formation out, and you're going to pick whatever gives you the highest number. Real straightforward. Whatever gives you the highest number. So right now we have 5 lawful champions. We're going to go ahead and select that because, yeah, you just want the biggest number. We'll talk about crescendo here in a moment. Well, after I level up Birdsong. Crescendo is kind of a big deal now. Chorus of the Lost. So this increases the effect of Song of Battle by 400% for each positional formation ability that affects Birdsong that comes from a champion who has no affiliation, and this stacks multiplicatively. Again, they really want these champions to be paired with other unaffiliated champions. And what that means is up here, it's going to say affiliation none. So that means if we had Briv in a formation, no bonus because Briv has an affiliation. Okay. They really are trying to have you build champions out from all the people who aren't affiliated, and they're buffing based off that. So Chorus of the Lost, positional formation abilities are the things that say like adjacent to, or within 2 slots of, or in front of, or behind, or in the same column as the effect. Not as the trigger, but as the effect. These are positional formation abilities. Crescendo. This is a nice big buff. I like big buffs, and I cannot lie. This increases the effect of Song of the Battle by a large number whenever any champion affected by Song of the Battle gets the killing blow on an enemy. This effect can stack up to 10 times, once for each kill. Stacks multiplicatively. Stacks are reset when changing areas. So when you sit here, and let's put them in the middle, so they make sure that we're getting our crescendo stacks. Every time somebody kills something, you get a stack, and this buff gets big. Again, I'm at max stacks here. I'm at an E17 buff, almost E18. And for crescendo, as the total bonus, There's an item for this. So this is why there's people who go on Bird Strong, because people who have high item levels, like much higher than mine, are seeing just outrageous numbers off of this because of the multiplicative stacking, and then that feeds into Song of Battle. I'm already up to E28 for Song of Battle. It's Bird Strong, folks. Bird Strong. All right. Impressive blade work. So whenever Birdsong attacks, she makes a bonus attack against a random boss enemy. This is fantastic. Oh my god, this is fantastic. We always run into situations, I was just talking about it earlier, where you'll have a boss enemy that has an infinite amount of trash mobs that are coming in with the boss. And the challenge with those levels is hitting the boss. Getting to instead of attacking all the stuff that's building up on your formation, it's hitting the boss. Well, Birdsong's just going to be like, attack the trash mobs, oh hi boss, and hit the boss too. And they deal 5 seconds of Bud base damage when they do so. So whether they're the DPS or the support, they're going to help you kill bosses regardless of the enemies that are in the way. And that is something we do not have on a champion. This is new. Ultimate attack, Cat's agility. Birdsong leaps from enemy to enemy 5 times. Birdsong, I'm going to say it right now. Birdsong spent a lot of time in a formation with Minsk and Boo and got real jealous of Boo. Jumps from an enemy to enemy 5 times, dealing damage and stunning them for 5 seconds. Enemies she attacks during her ultimate take 200% extra damage from all champions for 15 seconds. This is another kind of form of Minsk and Boo's ultimate. Except Boo goes for the eyes, attacks 5 enemies, and then makes them take more damage. Birdsong's going to go out and attacks 5 enemies, stun them for 5 seconds, and make them take more damage. Nice little damage boosting ultimate there. Item-wise, again, damage all champions, or damage Birdsong, excuse me. Damage all champions. We get Crescendo. They're out of order. It's weird. It throws me off. Song of Battle. Obviously. Ultimate attack damage and ultimate attack cooldown. Feats. Damage all champions. You get self-damage feats for Birdsong because she's a DPS. Song of Battle. Who would have thought? Crescendo and Chorus of the Lost. Again, if we come over here to the season, you'll see Harmony. This is a much larger boost to Crescendo. And let me find her other... There it is. An athlete. Strength score. This qualifies her for Patron's Aerial. Patron's Aerial. All right. Finally, I saved the best for last. Well, in my opinion. Because it's the dwarf. Barrowin. Barrowin. Female dwarf cleric. Armored. As every dwarf should be. Lawful good, tanking, healing, support. Tanking is the new thing for Barrowin. Barrowin used to be what was called a bruiser, which meant she wasn't a tank, but she had a lot of health and could exist in the front line. Now they're like, no, you got a lot of armor on. Let's just make you a tank. I'm here for it. Basic attack, Mighty Hammer. Barrowin smashes the nearest enemy with her Mighty Warhammer. Blessed Hammer is familiar to everybody who's been around a while. This is the base buffing ability. So Barrowin increases the damage of champions behind her now. This is a little different. By 400% for each champion in the formation who has an equal or higher base attack cooldown. Stacking multiplicatively. You want everyone in the formation to have either Barrowin's attack speed or higher. Right now, if you'll notice, my Barrowin's attack speed has gotten down to 2 seconds. So it's not super hard to get a formation full of people who are attacking slower than Barrowin. And that stacks for multiplicatively. Love it. Love it. Lawful Vigilance. Barrowin has a number of vigilance stacks equal to the number of champions in the formation that are either lawful or dwarves. So you want to build her out in a formation of either lawful champions or dwarf champions. She increases the health of other champions in the formation by 5% of her max health for each vigilance stack. So that's fantastic. So that's her health share version, but she has vigilance stacks. It also creates vigilance stacks. We're going to see that in other places. Healing Word. Barrowin heals champions in her column, including herself, for 4 health per second. I know it's a low number, but don't worry. It gets a multiplier. For each stack of vigilance she has. After Barrowin attacks, her next healing word also applies a temporary health bonus of the same amount. That's just another way of saying a temp HP shield. As you can see, her shield is sitting up here now. Now, we're not seeing a lot of stuff going on because she's not in the front, but let's move her to the front. She's now going to buff people behind her, and we can look at those buffs in a bit if you want. But yeah, she wants to be up here in the front. She wants to be soaking up the damage. There we go. Even temper. Barrowin attacks 0.25 seconds faster for each stack of vigilance she has. So again, vigilance stacks coming in big. Those are important. That's the lawful or dwarf champions. You want to max those out. When a champion that is eligible for healing word is hit by an enemy, Barrowin attacks 1 second faster for her next 2 attacks. So if I were attacked right now as Barrowin, I would gain an extra second of attack speed. I would drop to a 1 second cooldown. Oh, Barrowin. Yes. She finally went from Barrowlose to Barrowin. That's what I'm saying. Hammer time. Hammer time. Barrowin remembers the largest number of enemies she's had to tank at once in the current area. This is because dwarfs hold grudges. Blessed Hammer is increased by 100% multiplied by that number. The normal amount of max champions you can have on an area is 100. Normally. There are some exceptions to that rule, but generally speaking, that's what you're going to get. So 100 times 100% is what you're going to see. That's what you're going to see. All right, specialization choices. Greater Blessing, Booming Voice, or Hammer of the Law. Greater Blessing, this buffs Blessed Hammer by 400%. I'm going to jump all the way over to Hammer of the Law because these are the comparatives of what we're doing here. Hammer of the Law buffs Blessed Hammer. The base effect is additively increased by 20% for each vigilance stack she has. So, I did some math last night. I may have done it right. We'll see. Other math people can support or attack me here. It is my understanding that if you have 9 or 10 vigilance stacks, you go Hammer the Law. If you have 8 or fewer, you would go Greater Blessing. So Hammer the Law is really about maxing out those vigilance stacks. The buff becomes bigger, but you have to be up to like 9 or 10 from my experiments. So if you're at 8 or fewer, Greater Blessing. There's no numbers here for that. It would be nice maybe if they added a number over here that told you how many there were. But that's the way it is. Now, Booming Voice is about healing word. This is just going to double your healing. It's 100%. It's going to double your healing, but that also doubles your shield. So if Barrowin is in the formation for survivability in terms of shielding people and healing your front line, Booming Voice. But if you're trying to buff a lot, Greater Blessing or Hammer of the Law. Okay. I'm just going to go Greater Blessing. Yeah, I did off-screen math because everybody knows I can't do math on screen. It's just streamer brain does not work for that. All right, let's move forward again. Mighty Hammer is the ultimate. I want to say that's everything now. Yes. Holy Weapon. Here we go. Barrowin infuses her hammer with holy energy and throws it at a random enemy, stunning it for 5 seconds. For the next 15 seconds, the base of effect of Blessed Hammer is increased by 100%. So just an on-demand damage boost. 90-second cooldown when you have max cooldown reduction. I'm pretty sure I'm max, yeah. So pretty nice there. Here's what it looks like. Boom! Take that. Item-wise, para damage all champions. We get Blessed Hammer item. We get Healing Word item. You get ultimate attack damage and ultimate attack cooldown. We're missing something. I'm sure people have noticed. She needs a health item. That didn't come in the rework. One of these, probably this one, that's usually where they put it, needs to become a health item. Her health is... because she doesn't have a health item. She needs it. Hopefully we see that in the future. Damage all champions feats. Blessed Hammer. Healing Word. We get Overwhelm. There's also a feat to reduce her attack cooldown. I'm at 1.15 seconds at the moment, but we can make it go faster, apparently, if you need to. And then in the season, where's your feats at? Barrowin, show me your feats. There we go. In the season, we get another Overwhelm, the plus 10 Overwhelm, and then there's a Blessed Hammer by 80%. There's a Blessed Hammer by 80%. All right, folks. I do also want to point out there's like an achievement change for Birdsong. I can't remember if there was any other achievement changes. But Birdsong got an achievement change, so if you will need to go do her achievement again. Pretty straightforward. You basically just need to build your formation so she has 10 crescendo stacks. Always. So just make sure that her specialization choice, you choose like you go to a 10 champion formation, you put 10 lawful champions in, and boom. Or 10 female or 10 bard, however you want to do it. Okay. We're going to hop over. Gabe has grabbed a lot of questions. Good job, Gabe. We have about a dozen questions. We're going to take a short musical interlude. Look, folks, if you're new to my streams, I love dwarves. This is a song for dwarves. This is Raise Your Tankards.
Darkness underground, seeking riches in the stone to be found. In the heat of the earth and the mines below our lands, and the treasure in our hands. Born of the forge, we are miners of the gorge, we are crafters of rune and stone. Our clans are strong as our beards are long, and we're never on our own. Sweat drips down and our hammers pound as we sing along to the sound. Keep our axes sharp and our voices loud as we make Moradin proud. Raise your tankards to the mountain and to our ancestors' pride, to the stone our works are bound in. Thorn always provides. Langardin protect us as we defend our land. Guide our axes onward. Our lives are in your hands. Carving stone and clay to extract the precious ore. Our magic runs deep like the earth beneath our feet, and the holy mead we pour. We work all day over fires hot with coal. Masterworks our goal. We have gold in our veins, silver in our bones, and mithril in our soul. So it drips down and our hammers pound as we sing along to the sound. Keep our axes sharp and our voices loud as we make Moradin proud. Raise your tankards to the mountain and to our ancestors' pride, to the stone our works are bound in. Doom-a-thorn always provides. Langardin protect us as we defend our lands. Guide our axes onward. Our lives are in your hands.
I love that song. I may have contributed a few lines to that song. Maybe. All right, folks, I'm going to hit up the question list. We got about 45 minutes. I'm going to do my best to hit everything. We got about a dozen or so questions. If you have other questions that come up while we're talking, throw them in, and we can always lightning round it. I'm going to try to find the ones that are about seasons first. Patricius starts it off. What is your suggestion for players who are at tier 11 but don't have a season pass? What should we invest in? So again, once you get there, currently the best option is contract packs for tier 11. Gems this is like somewhere to spend some extra currency. Yeah, not that great. Potion packs, You only get one each. It's not really a big deal for the 2,000. And these are these you use once and they're gone forever. But contracts, while they are consumable, give you permanent power. So blacksmithing contracts, permanent item levels. Bounty contracts, when you use them during an event, you get event tokens. You spend those event tokens on free plays for a champion. Free plays give you chests for that champion. So you're getting permanent power in the form of gear and item levels for the champion through bounty contracts as well. So these are two of the most important things you can in the game, and they're going to give you a stack of each of them here. So free-to-play path, blacksmithing, or the contract pack. Absolutely, in my opinion. Couple general questions. We'll get about time gates. We'll get back to that. The Lotus Hunter question: how strong or accelerated do you think the unaffiliated core will be for new players who haven't even split the party? Man, I have never tried to. We've never had here's the thing: we've never had a core available before splitting the party, so I don't even know if you can slot it. I guess we're gonna find out. Yeah, because you can get to split the party real fast nowadays. If the stars align, you can be splitting the party within a week of starting a new account. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I don't know that there's going to be that much of a difference because you can get there so quickly nowadays. It's one of those things we're just going to have to find out. We're just going to have to wait and find out. T5 Cat, Zerial's boost is if there's a fiend on the field, Turiel's ability triggers that. Zerial's boost? Hold on, are we talking about a perk? Increase the damage of all champions by 47% if there's a fiend on the field. Yeah! So this synergizes with the tier 8 local. Now, this is only when you're doing Zerial stuff. When Turiel spawns a fiend, taking Turiel with you anywhere into local Zerial stuff. Yeah, you're gonna get that boost. I don't even have that maxed out, but yeah, that's gonna happen. Avens, does Barrowin synergize with Puent, who makes the DPS attack slower? Yes. Barrowin has always synergized with Puent, and the two of them together have synergized with Binwin. Now, whether or not in the past that wasn't necessarily enough to make them usable, but it could, if you were in a variant and those were available, it could work out pretty well, because Barrowin's going to be based off her attack speed and the attack speed related to people around her. Puent slows down everyone he's adjacent to. So as long as they're not near each other, as long as they're not adjacent to each other, it's good. Yeah. I'm sure people are going to play around with that a lot, because obviously now that we have a tank finally that's a dwarf, people are going to try to do, by people I mean me. We're going to try to do more dwarf-focused formations. Unfortunately, we don't have enough dwarfs to do a full dwarf formation, but yeah. Which is going to lead me into this off-topic question. Loopy79, this makes me happy. In your opinion, should Catti Bree count as a dwarf, since she was considered that way canonically in the books? So both Catti Bree and Wulfgar are the adopted children of Brunor Battlehammer, for anybody who doesn't know the lore. And both were welcomed in as dwarves, ultimately, as part of the family, in their clan, in the Battlehammer clan. In this game, they don't really do a lot of multi-race stuff, but what they do is we have a feat. Mehen, the adopted, the father, the person who adopted, or Dragonborn, who adopted Havilar and Farida, the Brimstone Angels, who are both tieflings, has a feat where he can count as a tiefling. I would love to see Catti Bree get a feat, Catti Bree and Wulfgar get feats that allow them to count as dwarves. Absolutely. I think it would be great for Barrowin, for dwarf formations. Yeah, would love to see that. Volnai, I just did my first time gate. Does the Maester's favor disappear if I don't convert it when the time gate closes? You don't get a choice, or will it transfer over to the next time gate? Yeah, you don't get a choice. You're forced to convert. You're forced to convert when the time gate closes. In fact, if you're done, if you're not going to do anything else in the time gate, you can close that time gate early. But it makes you choose right away. There's no rolling Maester's favor over. It's the same way with Trials of Mount Tiamat. There's Bahamut's favor. You have to convert it right away. Events are the only... Event favor is the only favor that you can kind of wait a week to convert, but then it's still going to force you. You can't... Any of these temporary things, you can't hold the favor over forever. Xenosagas. Remember, folks, I'm doing the questions that were asked during the first half of the show. If you have a new question now, please, as it states down below, put question : in front of your question so the mods Gabe knows to grab it, because otherwise they might think you're asking somebody else in chat. Xenosagas, as a new player, what time gate should I open? This is a very difficult question to answer. I'm just going to preface this. The starting champions from whatever you get when you start, the core champions, yep, and Dritz, yep. My typical formation is Spurt, plus you get those. You've got all of those. Charlaxle, yeah, is your DPS, I understand. Birdsong, freely select, yeah, there's honestly so much going on in this game, it's hard to understand anything at all what's going on. I have some guides to help you out with just general understanding. You could find them on the subreddit, on my little wiki. I just did the command to... there we go. That'll get you access there. So, time gates. Here's the thing with time gates. There's a couple different factors that we want to take in mind when we're doing... when you're trying to choose a time gate. It is important to work towards split the party. That's what we were talking about earlier. Split the party is how you unlock a new party and get a Modron core, so you can have background parties. You can get currently up to 3 background parties. There's split the party 1, 2, and 3. Split the party requires that you have an extra champion in each slot. So you have one of these swippy swappy buttons for every champion bench slot showing up. So what you kind of want to do is look to see where you don't have a swippy swappy button. And ideally, you would choose a champion from that slot. So normally when people are like, who should I choose? We ask, well, what slots do you not have an extra champion in? That's the first question. But then also right now, we also have to take into account that there is a discount for getting these 5 champions with time gate pieces. So, you would prioritize one of these if it's in a slot where you didn't already have one. Otherwise, you're looking for things that are going to help you move towards split the party. Now, in that slot, once we know what slots that you need a swap character for, we can then give you direct advice on what's going on. I could probably recreate it. Honestly, my brain doesn't work on recreating what all those. I think we've got what? You've got Dritz. Dritz is 9. Spurt is 3. Dungeon Master 6. Freely's 7. Birdsong's also 9. Barrowin's 10. It sounds like you don't have a 1. Turiel would be a 1, but you're going to get Turiel via the Spring Gathering. Just keep collecting spring chests. You'll get Turiel. Boy. We've got an event coming up that's going to drop. Well, Linder doesn't help you. Linder's going to be in 6. Tatiana is in 8. So that helps. You should get hitched. Get hitched. Also, sign up for the newsletter. Open the menu. Sign up for the newsletter. You get a free champion, Hitch, who's in slot 8. So yeah, Xenogaz, you need to tell me who, if you're still here, tell me what slots you still need. I want to say 12 is one you're going to need. I'm a fan of Penelope here. Dob is also good. They might be, they just started, so they might not be able to unlock Azaka. Azaka's in Tomb of Annihilation. You could work towards that. It only takes about maybe a week or 2 to get Azaka from after starting. Yeah, I need a little more information because I can't do all this math in my head. Oh yeah, Miria is going to be slot 12 coming out in the new event, so don't even worry about 12. So I think 2 maybe was one that I didn't hear you had a swap for. There's a lot of good options in 2. Krydel's good in 2. Talon's good in 2. Dinar's good in 2. Merowin's good in 2. Solok's good in 2. Whittle's good in 2. Whittle's a speed champion as well, so yeah, there's a lot of options, but you know, a little more information, we can help you a little better. Mavros Aguila, unrelated question topic. That's fine. If I get a free game on Epic Games and list you in the creator tag field, does that financially benefit you in any way? No. If it's not a purchase, like you can enter in a creator tag in the Epic Game Store, but if there is no value, there is no percent that gets transferred on, because the creator tag thing basically gives anywhere from 5 to 15% usually of whatever your purchase value is. So 5% of 0 is 0. But thank you. Thank you for trying. Dominus, the Meister favor you get in the time gate doesn't seem to have a shop like the others. Correct. And is transformed to other favor after the time gate ends. Yes. Is there a preferred favor I should transfer it to? Sort of. I have only the first 2 favors unlocked at the moment. My general rule of thumb for converting a favor is convert it into the campaign you're actively working on. As a newer player, that's where you're going to see the benefit. So if you are if you did some Sword Coast and then you moved on to Tomb of Annihilation, if that's the one you're in right now that you're working your way through, convert into Tomb of Annihilation. But I like to pick whatever I'm actively working on because I see the benefits right away. After you've done a lot of stuff in a lot of different places, there's other ways to make that decision, but early on, that's what I do on my new player account. I'm running a new player account right now on Epic. And yeah, I just convert into whatever I'm actively working on. The Bard's Forge, do cores affect background parties? Absolutely, as long as they have a core slotted. So if we come over here, so I don't have a core over here, I'll put one in. You can slot a core in every party as long as you have enough cores to go in there. I currently have 5. And there's 4 parties, so I can choose as needed where I want it to go. But the core that you have slotted affects the background party. So here I have a strong core, here I have a magic core, here I have an heroic core. Currently, with these, my cores are just automating things for me. I'm not worrying about pushing because I have it reset. I have it just resetting at 50. in each of the different patrons, except for Mert, which I would do actively. And that way I get patron challenge stuff done without any effort at all. In fact, I have not done anything with patrons this week. Zariel's got 8 out of 10 completed. I never touched it. We're looking at 7 out of 10 or 6 out of 10 completed for Strahd. Works for me. This one may get done in time. Who knows? And I've got 8 out of 10 completed for Vajra. Never did anything. I didn't get anything in Mert, but I don't care. I have so much currency. I'm end-game. End-game issues are different than early game issues. But yeah, they do work in the background. G-Kin, how many ways other than feats to increase Overwhelm? Oof. Well, Barrowin just got changed, so that's -1. Freely. I think Freely's the only champion that can affect Overwhelm numbers. Let's throw Freely in. So Freely has an ability called Cutting Words. And it increases the Overwhelm point by 5 of tanking champions that are under attack and within 3 slots of Freely. So you can boost Overwhelm by 5 with Freely if they're within 3 slots of your tank. When you use this with Archon in a 2-tank frontline, and you make Cutting Words only target the other tank, Archon multiplies this with Usurp. Or if you use it with Bulk Up and it's targeting Archon, Archon just blows the number through the roof because he'll multiply the 5 because it's a positional formation ability. But Freely currently the only other way you can change your Overwhelm number, or Overwhelm for people. Now, Krydle, some champions have built-in ways their Overwhelm can change. Like Krydle has like the healers that affect his Overwhelm number, and reset evasion and stuff, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Krydle begins every area with stacks of evasion equal to his Overwhelm, but you can buff his Overwhelm. Yeah, Krydle gains 5 Overwhelm for each Heroes of Baldur's Gate champion. That's it. So the more Heroes of Baldur's Gate you run Krydle with, the more Overwhelm they get. That's it. Still trying to remember that stuff because Krydle got a full rework. So Krydle used to be a DPS, and now they're a tank. They're a dodge tank. Tetragrammaton Elric. That was a lot. If I'm just starting out doing the variants in Sword Coast, should I be completing adventures as soon as I can, or do I keep going to higher areas for favor? So you use 2 different words here, and they mean 2 different things. You said variants, and then you said adventures. And these are 2 separate types of things in this game. And I just want to point this out for clarity. What I am doing right now, the Sanctum of the Sword, that's what I'm in, is an adventure. This is an adventure. The things that drop down under an adventure, like under a Castle of Thousand of Vecna's adventure, is clumsy doesn't mean inept. These are variants. These are variants. So it has the same storyline, enemies, art, and everything as Castle of a Thousand Vecnas. It is a variant with different rules. So a variation on this one. So we treat these in 2 different ways. You only want to push for favor, generally speaking, in an adventure or it's free play. Like this is an adventure because I haven't completed it before. Once you complete it, the adventure turns into a free play of that adventure. You can push for favor in these if you want. But in a variant, you just want to get to the completion area and then bounce. Because the variants have restrictions that make them harder to do. That's the whole point of a variant, is it's a more challenging thing to do. And those restrictions are going to make it nearly impossible to push as far as you could in a free play. So there's no reason to waste your time trying to get favor in a variant. Generally speaking. So one of the things I recommend when you're starting off is you push deep in the free plays, and as long as everything after that shows is green, like for adventures, I recommend just doing adventures first, This one stops you, makes you do some variants, but doing adventures first because they're easy and you can push them for favor, and then you only come back and do the variants when they show as green. Preferably when they all show as green. That's easy mode. That's easy mode. No reason to make it hard on yourself. Because, like, the very first variant in the game, Are You Chicken? Don't do it. It's a trap. They're daring you. It's in the name. Are you chicken? Huh? Are you chicken? They're daring you to do something, and that you can't do at that point. You just can't do it. You lose too much power with champions, and you're too early in the game to understand that. It's a bit of a trap. Yeah. Ricardoso, I realized the correct answer would be, how would I know? But you may have tactical knowledge about your foes. Do Dwergar also hold grudges? So I'm going to go into my OC character, Gaarawarr Grudgekeeper, for a moment. How would I know? I don't let them live long enough to ask. Yeah, there you go. There you go. But I would say, I mean, they are dwarves, so they probably hold grudges. But yeah, Gaarawarr Grudgekeeper would be like, I've never had a conversation with a Dwergar. Yeah. Gliding Secret, did Barrowin get a health share upgrade? She did. She did. It's based off her vigilance stacks, though. So it's lawful vigilance. She increases the health of other champions in the formation by 5% of her max health for each vigilance stack. So it's really based off the number of vigilance stacks. 5 vigilance stacks is going to get you to the normal that you get of 25. 25% is usually normal tanks health share. But she can get all the way, with 10 vigilance stacks, she can get all the way up to sharing 50% of her health, which is incredible. Orion the Wise, did Hew Maan lose their speed specialization without gaining a feat to compensate like they did with Shandy? The question is, technically, the answer is yes. But, as I explained when I was talking about Hew Maan earlier, what they did is they put Impressive Coat Work, which was the specialization, just in as an ability at level 220. So, Hew Maan by default now gets all the speed they did before. You don't even have to slot a feat. And then what they did is they gave Hew Maan a speed feat that's a little mini Shandy, 10% game speed that's coming in the season. So Hew Maan got nothing but better, in my opinion. Nothing but better. Durstolf, I'm fairly new, need a second slot 5 champion for Split the Party. Who is either easy to get or really good to spend time gate shards for. If you're going for slot 5 and you've got 6, yeah, you're going to have 6 for slot 5. Briv. Briv's currently one of the most overpowered champions in the game. Also the best speed champion in the game. One of those top 2 speed champions. Briv and Hew Maan together are the tag team for speed. But, you know, Briv and Hew Maan both need a significant investment in their items, in their gear. Briv wants the slot 4 Theodinorax. Epic Golden, ideally. And even then, you can see my item levels are still like 3,600 to get him to a good place. I technically need to get Briv to end game problems, folks. I need to get Briv to something like 127,632 item levels. But this is a good place for now. This is a good place for now. Yeah, Briv. You want Briv. Briv does everything, and he does it too well, unfortunately. Loopy. How do you make your core window show 4 cores at once? My only it shows 3, and I have to scroll sideways to see the 4th. It's probably my game size, right? Like, it probably has to do with my settings to what I'm at 1600 by 900, and with the force 16 by 9. I shouldn't have to, because that's 16 by 900. So I play the game in a small window on my screen because I like to move it to different. I like to move it either to this window or to this monitor, to this monitor, or when I have it in this monitor, I need it small enough that I can see chat. You're right there, right? And then I can see and then I've got a place where I can tab and I can see my document and I can still see the game. So I run maybe a different size than you do, and that might be why. It's the only thing I can think of. I also, hold on. The other thing that could be is the UI scale, but I have mine scaled up for readability, so that's probably not that. The Real Bunny Beast, the notorious RBB. Does a grudge keeper only keep their own grudges, or can other people also deposit their grudges for safekeeping? So this is now we're getting into the lore of my homebrew world. I mean, in a rare instance, someone could probably pass on a grudge. It's not for safekeeping. It's for settling. You don't keep grudges safe. You settle grudges. Someone could pass off a grudge, but they would have to be either wounded so severely they couldn't settle it on their own, or dying, right? Grudges are big deals. It's not like, oh, somebody looked at me funny. It's someone killed my friend and now I'm gonna go after them, right? Like, it's that kind of stuff. This is all dwarven stuff. So yeah, I mean, in my homebrew world, you mint a grudge. A grudge is actually a coin that you mint. That you and the metal that or the what it's made up of, it doesn't have to be metal. I mean, if all you have is a knife and a piece of wood, you could make a wooden coin. Whatever you got to do to mint your grudge. But if you minted a mithril grudge, that's a serious grudge. That's like a clan level grudge, right? And you carry that coin around with you. And then when you settle your grudge, you stamp a hole through the middle and it goes on a little leather thong that dangles off your belt. So everybody knows, your honor. Like, you wear your honor on your belt. In my homebrew world. So since you're asking questions about grudges and grudge keeping, the dwarves, there you go. Patricius, other experienced players say Briv has to be used with dragon bait for speed gem farming. And you rarely mention dragon bait. That's not true. What am I missing? Not understanding. We had this conversation. I mean, my formation for Briv Gem Farm has dragon bait right here, and we were talking about using breaks and how dragon bait is your damage booster. Yeah. You don't have to use dragon bait, but I use dragon bait. Dragon bait's a core. Dragon bait's core to my Briv Gem Farm. Yeah. So I'm not sure where you got that implication. But yeah, I've talked about when I have talked about Briv Gem farming and shown my formation, dragon bait has always been in it. Plumbob, am I correct that there's generally no real point in keeping a time gate open and doing free plays once you've completed the 3 chests, grabbed your 3 chests? Pretty much, yeah. So they're the only other, there's 2 other things you can get from a time gate. But one of them doesn't serve a whole lot of purpose, and the other only matters if you actually have decent power. So one is every unique 100 areas that you progress in a time gate, you can earn another silver chest for that champion. When you're newer, like my new player account, only just broke 300, but that's in somewhere where I have a lot of favor. So in a time gate, I'm usually getting to, I think I did 125. If I put a lot of work into it, I could probably get it to 200. But that's too much effort just to get a single silver chest. So usually I grab I'll push to past 100 in a time gate on a new player account, grab that silver chest, and I'm fine. As long as I've grabbed the other 3 gold chests, I'm good. The other silver chests, pushing super deep comes with lots of power, and it's not necessarily as beneficial. People do it. To try to just whatever they can do to try to get a shiny, but shinies are 1 in 1,000 chests, and even if you auto farm to 2,000, you're getting 20, potentially 40 silver chests. It takes a long time, a lot of time gates to get to just that 1,000 and there's no pity timer. So I don't do that. But yeah, so the silver chest thing is kind of, I treat it like, low hanging fruit. You grab the things that are easy to get and you move on. The other thing that you can get in a time gate by doing free plays is you can push deeper and get more favor. Favor does convert, as we were talking about earlier. A multiplier against a current campaign, it multiplies and then adds the result to the current campaign. So if you get 100% multiplier, you double your current campaign favor. The thing with time gates is it multiplies at a lower percentage than an event does. So for every order of magnitude of favor, we're talking scientific notation. So for every EO1 of favor in a time gate, you get a 2.5% multiplier. So E10 favor only gets you a 25% multiplier. So you get a quarter of your current campaign's favor as a bonus. Whereas in an event, you get a 10% multiplier. So E10 gets you 100% in doubles, right? So it's just, you'd have to put so much effort into a time gate to push it far, especially as a new player, to get a decent conversion. I've never experienced that being worth it. There are times later portions of the game where it could be worth it. There's reasons why. But early on, I've never found it to be worth pushing for favor in a time gate, other than just to get you enough favor to be able to complete the variant. So when you're looking at a time gate, here, I can open one, because I haven't opened my new free time gate. Free time gate weekend. Yay! Go grab, if you haven't done this yet, folks, you need to grab one of these free champions. Yours are going to be different from mine. They are unique to every account, and you can ask in chat here, or you can ask in the Discord, or you can ask on the subreddit for help. People will help you make a good decision. But free natural time gate weekends happen every 3 weeks, usually, just like events happen every 3 weeks. The natural time gate weekend happens in the week in between events, after one ended and before one starts, which is the week we're in right now. That's how they do it. So you have the ability, if you're new, to get 4 new champions a month, just from an event and a natural time gate weekend. And then as you gain time gate pieces, you can get more, and any giveaways, you get more. It's a pretty solid system. So once I pick one of these, you can see this number here, 5075. These are the goals for the adventure levels. I'm going to go ahead and pick. I'm going to pick Evelyn for reasons. 5075. This first one, these are the 2 adventures, the basic adventures. The 50 and the 75 are your area goals. This third one is a variant. It's from the event they arrived in. And the completion area will be different. Mine says 125, so that's great. But it can be anything from 75 to 175. So it could be 75, 125, or 175. If yours comes up 75, great. Do these adventures, push this one for some favor, get this one so that you complete 100 if you didn't hear, and then do this one as a new player. If it says 75, you'll be done real quick. And again, as with a variant, you just finish when you complete it. But if it's 125 or 175, you may need no more favor to finish it. And that's what free plays are for here. But yeah, and then once you've done these 3 and you've grabbed your low-hanging fruit in terms of your free silver chest, you close your time gate early. It's going to pop up another confirmation. And you can just say close gate. I'm going to cancel. I'll do this weekend. Yeah. Zawi Eru. Not sure if you know, but Mars advised people to throw this question at you. Okay. Oh no, Mars, what did you do? How does Artemis work with Nahara? How to work this cooperation the best way? I think Mars is trolling me. I would hope Mars knows by now that I don't use Artemis. I'm not the person to come to with Artemis questions. I can tell you how Artemis works. But I don't use Artemis. Artemis is a champion. We're going to back up a little bit because I can't deal with Vecna and Artemis at the same time. You can't even use Artemis with Nahara. Artemis and Nahara are in the same slot. So I'm not sure. Is this just a troll question in general? Yeah, they're in the same slot. You can't use them together. Hey! All right, I'm done. I'm happy to be done with that question. Yeah, I'm not sure what that was. Was it? Are we talking with somebody else? I don't know. You can let me know. Zawier. Dark Drake. What's the bar on the time gate pictures? Some are full, some ain't. Well, now I can't look because I opened the time gate. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, it's the epic counter. Okay, yes, this is new. It's the pity timer. Okay, I can show you this somewhere else and it'll make sense. It's the same thing. So this bar, this purple bar, this is your pity timer. So in this game, the devs are super nice. Thank you, folks. I appreciate it. I was like, bar? This only got added within the last year. Because one of the main reasons you're going in after you've collected your champion from a time gate, the main reason you would then go do a time gate again is to get more gold chests to try to get epic gear. The devs are nice. They give us a pity timer. So if you have bad luck pulling gear from chests, the most you're ever going to have to open is 10. So pity timer is 10. This bar is telling you how far along the pity timer you are. So right here, if I hover over it, it says guaranteed epic in one of the next 7 chests. Now, it could happen at somewhere in there, anywhere in there, but if it doesn't, it's going to happen on the last one, right? That's what it's telling you. So that you know, one of the reasons later, after you've collected all the champions, you're going and trying to get them all full epic. Some people will choose the free time gate based off who they're closest to getting their next epic piece of equipment on. Thank you, chat. Silly Simon, current dwarf count is 6 with Barrowin and Alcoria sharing a slot. Yeah, but you would never... Alcoria doesn't... Here's this problem with Alcoria. Alcoria doesn't fit with any other dwarf champion in the game. She's a dwarf, but she's a dwarven mage. Finger wagglers. So she wouldn't work with anyone else that's a dwarf, so it's fine. Never got the hang of print and wondered if you'd show how we might use 5. Oh, wow. I don't think we have enough time for that. But Binwin would be your DPS. Brunor would be supporting in the same column. Puent would be adjacent to Binwin, but preferably not adjacent to anyone else. You would throw Beetle and Grim in. There's our other dwarf. They just need to be within 2 formation slots of Binwin, preferably not next to Puent, because they've got a beer debuff they want to stack up, appropriate for dwarves. And then Barrowin's in the front attacking real fast, right? And then flesh out the rest as you would need to support. But yeah, Binwin is a very much the only current DPS as a dwarf. Technically, you could DPS with Beetle and Grim, but you'd be DPSing with the human, and that throws the whole thing off. Now, you would want to throw in a 2-tank formation. You'd throw in Wolfgar, again, honorary dwarf. Caddy Bria support, if you could. Yeah, she's here. Well, Wolfgar's in 10 too, so you can't. Oh, never mind. So Caddy Bria support. Cabs is, if I buy the season pass, will I get the season champions? No. That's not how it works. But what they do is they give you lots of ways to get the season champions. So again, there's 6 time gate pieces here. In each of these, the season champions are discounted for 3. There's more than enough to get them. Spurt is free right now. There's a code for that somebody can give you in chat. And Turiel is free in the Spring Gathering if you gather 4 chests. If you open 4 of the 7 chests, you will get Turiel for free. So they're giving you ways to get the champions. They just don't give them all out to you. It's not a pay and get them. This game offers the vast majority of things. Like champions are all free. But you can unlock them quicker with cash. But the season pass doesn't do that. It gets you all that other stuff. Lots of skins, a familiar. Permanent item levels, other things for your $10. Last couple questions and we're out of here real quick. Shevik, should my gem count not be going up each time I go past a boss? Right now it only updates if I click on it. I don't know. That sounds really weird. It should be going up every time you collect a bag. Petruchius, is Nahara's Tamiza Revenge quest requirement reduction useful for a speed formation? Yes. Just know that it falls off. It works early in a run and falls off late in a run. So it becomes a damage ability later and stops being a speed ability. Last question, Durstolf. How does shiny gear interact with legendary gear? It doesn't. The gilding affects the base item, so the core item effect. So technically you have an epic shiny, and then you wrap it in a legendary effect, which adds an extra effect. But the gilding doesn't modify the legendary effect at all. The way you modify the legendary effect is by leveling it up. That's everything today, folks. Thanks for hanging out. Streams will return on Monday with Idle Champions Presents Fury of the Black Rose. Midday, specifically speaking. If you want to hang out with me some more, though, I stream Idle Champions on my channel Mondays after that, and Wednesdays. And then I stream other games the rest of the time. So in about an hour from now, I'll be on my channel, twitch.tv/Gaarawarr, spelled like it sounds. It's Final Fantasy Saturday. We're playing Final Fantasy VI, the Pixel Remaster. We're coming up on the end. I think we're going into Kefka's Tower today. Join us, won't you? We're going out with a song for Kobolds because they're number one. Bye, everybody.
Kobolds are really tough. Kobolds will steal your stuff. Kobolds we like to sing. Kobolds will take your things. Kobolds live underground. Kobolds we run around. Kobolds we like the dark. Kobolds don't need no art. We may be small, we may be last, but we are many and we're coming fast. So hide all your gold and pack up your tools. We'll stomp on your toes and steal all your jewels. Kobolds covered in scales. Kobolds, we have cool tails. Kobolds, we're not that short. Kobolds, we're in your port. Kobolds come from dragons. Kobolds train your dragons. Kobolds deserve the praise. Kobolds are really brave. We may be small, we may be last, but we are many and we're coming fast. So hide all your gold and pack up your tools. We'll stomp on your toes and steal all your jewels. Shiny rocks and bits of string, skulls and bones and slimy things, honey treasure, lots of fun. Kobolds take your stuff and run. Kobolds we like the best. Kobolds smarter than rest. Kobolds hide in your fruit tree. Kobolds stack tall as you. We may be small, we may be last, but we are many and we're coming fast. So hide all your gold and pack up your tools. We'll stomp on your toes and steal all your jewels. Kobolds, we fight in herds. Kobolds, we forget words. Kobolds are super fun.